It's a battle of the pugilists as the Filipino Flash looks to survive the hurricane.
Good right there he is. Out of there. It's over with.
Up-and-coming Logan McInnis finds himself in the toughest fight of his career.
He fought for the world title against Humberto Soto and did great for the 9 rounds it lasted.
And we speak exclusively with the man in charge of the biggest MMA promotion in the world.
You know, I wanted to deliver big here, and we did.
This is Fight Network's preview show.
I haven't stopped thinking about it since I went and watched the show.
Hey everyone, I'm Sarah Davis, and you're watching Fight Network's preview show. We're starting off with a look at the boxing matches set for this weekend, and boxing analyst Corey Erdman will be joining me to break them down. Then we're looking at previews of Bellator 55 and Ringside MMA 12, and John Pollock is also talking one-on-one with one of the biggest figures in MMA, Dana White. But first, Pollock tells us about a championship bout between a top pound-for-pound fighter who's achieved 18 knockouts in 27 fights with only 1 loss, and an undefeated southpaw who's knocked out more than half of his opponents in 37 fights.
Manny Pacquiao has been boxing's top star over the last couple of years, but Pac-Man is not the only star to emerge from the Philippines. Born in 1982, Nonito Donaire has lit up the boxing world and is slowly rising from behind the huge shadows cast by his countrymen. Donaire was born in Talibon, Bohol, and grew up in General Santos City, South Cotabato. The Filipino Flash turned professional in 2001. Fighting 4 times for a meager $1,500 a month, Donaire was forced to leave his promoter. After considering an early retirement, he and his father moved to San Leandro to avoid all of the distractions his birthplace offered and focus his time solely on the sweet science. He has not dropped a fight since leaving the Philippines. From 2002 to 2006, the Filipino Flash amassed an amazing 12 victories, 6 of which were knockouts, grabbing 2 minor belts on the way. His first major title bout came when he faced the formidable Victor Chinian for the IBF and IBO flyweight titles. This victory was awarded Ring Magazine's Knockout of the Year and Upset of the Year.
Working well. Oh, boy, look out! Darchinian down for the first time! Struggling to get to his feet! In terrible shape, it's all over! It's all over!
On December 1st, 2007, Donaire defended his title for the first time, scoring a TKO in the 8th round.
About fighting
Good shot, beautiful hook. Really hurt him.
Despite his rising success, the Filipino faced yet another altercation with his promoter and was forced to leave Gary Shaw. Although discouraged, Donaire kept his focus and defended his title 3 more times before moving up in weight to the super flyweight division, and once again took the world by storm and won the WBA World Flyweight title.
Oh, and Vargas is there to be tagged now. So Donaire's on.
He defended his belt 3 times, crushing his competition before making the big step up to the bantamweight division. He found his biggest challenge when he took on Fernando Montiel for the WBO and WBC bantamweight championship.
Good right there he is. Out of there. It's over with. It's over with. That is done.
Donaire holds both the WBC and WBO bantamweight belts and has looked spectacular in his last 3 contests, winning all by brutal knockout.
And Russell Moore's going to let it continue. Now he stops it. You have company.
He's currently rated by The Ring as the number 4 pound-for-pound boxer in the world. This Saturday night, the Filipino Flash fights for the final time in the bantamweight division, moving up to secure fights against today's superstars. Argentina's Omar Narvaez is a former Olympian, and like Donaire, a former flyweight titleist. The one knock on El Hurricane is that he is considerably older and much smaller. He does have a reputation for having a solid chin, though he is known to lack power in his shots. Some feel that Narvaez might struggle outside of Argentina, however he has made 3 flyweight title defenses outside of his native homeland. That said, El Hurricane is an undefeated offensive southpaw fighter who will surely bring the fight to Donaire come Saturday night. Both fighters will be looking to secure a victory on Saturday. Narvaez will be trying to make a name for himself outside of Argentina and stay relevant in his division, while Donaire should look to finish his foe spectacularly and rise up out of the shadows cast by the sport's biggest star.
Boxing analyst Corey Erdman joins me now. Corey, for those people that don't know Nonito Donaire, he's a top pound-for-pound fighter. Why is that?
Well, a lot of it is based on speculation because the only 2 elite fighters he's ever really had to face have been Victor Chinian and Fernando Montiel, and he happened to knock both of them out conclusively. But really, we put Nonito Donaire in the top pound-for-pound rankings because of his elite skill set. He's fast, he's big, and it looks like he could grow into a true featherweight at some point, and that's really scary when you consider that this guy started in and around 112 pounds. he could win titles in about 5 or 6 weight classes. That's something that very few fighters in the history of boxing can say.
And back to Narvaez, he is undefeated, right? And he has that experience, but what kind of opponents has he faced leading up to this point?
Well, he's absolutely a credible boxer. He's the best super flyweight in the world. It's just going to be tough for him at bantamweight. This is a guy that has been defending world titles at flyweight and super flyweight since 2002. He hasn't had a close fight. Anyone who's been remotely close to beating him on the scorecards since he fought Andreas Saritsu at flyweight, and that's when he was having trouble making the weight, so he gets a pass on that one. This is a guy who's a big star in Argentina. It's just going to be too much at his advanced age for him to move up to bantamweight. That said, it's a no-lose situation for him. He's still the best in the division he's comfortable in. If he loses to Nonito Donaire, he makes big money doing it, and he can go back to being a star back home.
Sounds not too shabby. What is your prediction for this fight?
Well, with all apologies to Narvaez, I do think that there's going to be another spectacular knockout, the same as we saw against Victorcinian, the same as we saw against Fernando Montiel, and I do think that he gets that probably within 7 rounds.
Okay, there you have it. Now let's get on to the next fight. Corey, current NABA lightweight champion Logan McInnis is undefeated and giving up his current title to fight Benoit Godet for the NABA Super Featherweight Championship. Godet is on a 4-fight winning streak after losing a world title shot to Humberto Soto in 2009. And I recently caught up with Logan McInnis at his new gym in Mississauga, where he says he's on the best training camp of his career.
Undefeated rising star Logan McInnis has left his longtime trainer Chris Johnson to join DeWitt's boxing studio in Mississauga to prepare for his upcoming NABA Super Featherweight Championship fight with former world title challenger Benoit Godet. DeWitt Fraser, the new trainer, promises that we will see a stronger and faster version of McInnis when he enters the ring.
He can punch way harder than he's punching right now. So the very first day you walk in the gym, what I realized is that he's not using enough body, and he has enough body to use. So you're gonna see a little bit of difference in that in this fight.
He's got me turning more and putting my body into my punches. I think before I was just kind of arm punching a bit. I mean, I thought I was still a good puncher, but I mean, Dwight's added some more power to my punching.
After struggling through the 8th and 9th rounds of his last fight in June against Daniel Ruiz, McInnis took a break from the gym and some time to reflect upon his career.
I got a new management team and people helping me. I had a lot of distractions going into that fight, and the camp wasn't the best camp I've had. So, I mean, we sat back and thought about a lot of things. I made a lot of big decisions and a big change. And I mean, the new environment here has got me feeling more refreshed, more revived, and I'm just excited to get back in there again. My previous camps, they were kind of a lot of getting into bad habits and just kind of running through the motions sometimes. But Dwight, he's always, when I'm training in the gym, he's always on my shoulder. He's always watching over me. The whole time I'm in here, Dwight is right there. So I can't pick up these bad habits. Dwight is fixing these bad habits that I had.
McInnis will give up his NABA lightweight belt to fight Godet, who's proven that he's not afraid to stand and trade and likes to work off his jab to open up other combinations.
I'm a pressure fighter. I like to come forward. I like to fight. So I'm going to be looking to cut off the ring and break him down. He's going to be looking to try to outbox me and move around the ring and set up little traps.
And McInnis will look to avoid those traps to keep his perfect record. The battle's set to go down on October 22nd at the Hershey Center in Mississauga.
Corey, Logan McInnis jumps camp and he says he's more prepared than ever. Do you really think this was the right decision for him?
I do, because Chris Johnson, his former trainer, who he was with for quite some time, just has a lot on his plate. He has a lot of fighters in his stable, and moving to someone like Dwight Fraser, not only does he have a smaller stable, he can pay more attention to Logan, but he's a little bit more of a tactician, and I think that's what Logan needs. Logan right now, we know he has the heart, we know he has the desire. He doesn't need a motivator right now. What he needs is fine-tuning to his mechanics, especially if he wants to step up to the world level, which is what a fight like this is hopefully propelling him to.
Well, and Benoit Godet, he comes in with the experience, and he has fought for a world title shot with Humberto Soto. So what else do you think McInnis needs to look out for coming into this fight with Godet?
Well, the trouble with Godet that McInnis is going to run into is that he can fight while moving backwards, and he can fight while moving forwards, and that's where a guy like Dwight Fraser can really help McInnis. With Chris Johnson, McInnis was really turning into a true pressure fighter, and I think if he only had one ripple in his game, I think that Godet would easily pick him apart. So he needs to vary his attack, and he needs to come up with different looks in each round. I don't think that he can give Godet the same look each time, or he's probably going to get outboxed.
And how do you see this fight going down?
It wouldn't surprise me, Sarah, if Logan McInnis pulls out a miracle victory here either, but all logic suggests that Benoit Godet will win a unanimous decision victory.
Samuel Vargas, who is currently undefeated in 7 fights, will throw down with Ahmad Sheiko, who has knocked out all but one of his opponents in his 6 victories. A draw was called at the end of Vargas's most recent fight when he faced Tibor Broch for the vacant NABA Canada welterweight title, while Sheiko is coming off a loss to Sergey Milas after he was on a 4-fight winning streak. We're previewing some MMA after the break as it's time for round 2 of Bellator's bantamweight tourney, and we also caught up with outspoken MFC president Mark Pavelich.
I know more about MMA than 99.9% anybody on this planet.
In the MMA world, Bellator 55 is set to go down this weekend as the promotion holds the second round of their bantamweight tournament. Just 4 contestants remain in the semifinal bouts, and James Lynch will tell us next what we need to know about them.
A relative unknown entering the bantamweight tournament at Bellator 51, Cuban Alexis Villa had a stiff test in his promotional debut, facing tournament favorite and current 145-pound champion Joe Warren.
It's going to be a brawl, bottom line, but I'm going to take his heart from him and finish the job and move on to the second round.
To the surprise of fans and pundits alike, the 1996 Olympic bronze medalist landed a powerful left hook in the first in a stunning upset.
Left and he's out, and that's it. Just like that, Warren is completely cold, and a huge win for the Cuban Olympian Alexis Villa.
Now undefeated at 10-0, the 40-year-old is paired with Nova União disciple Marcos Galvão. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt is coming off an impressive split decision victory over former WEC bantamweight champion Chase Beebe. The 30-year-old has a significant height and reach advantage and will undoubtedly look to get this fight to the canvas. Meanwhile, the American top team product will use his takedown defense in wrestling to keep this fight on the feet and look to add yet another highlight reel knockout.
Wild West. Big head kick. Full ground and pound.
I know a lot of guys have really bad sob stories. I grew up on the streets of Brazil. I barbecued rats. I really don't. I had a good childhood.
Yes, that's why they call him Wild West.
The always charismatic Ed Wild West enters the semifinals as the only remaining American in the tournament, as he's paired with 22-year-old Brazilian prodigy Eduardo Dantas. In his last fight, the Season 3 bantamweight tournament finalist uses superior wrestling to outwork Brazilian Luis Nogueira. Dantas, meanwhile, is coming off a highlight reel knockout in his quarterfinal matchup against Wilson Hayes.
Oh, to find knee! This has got to be stopped, and it is! And out goes Wilson Hayes.
Being the top prospect in the world might create pressure, but the higher the pressure, the better I feel. It improves my performance. I want to be #1 in the world, and the Bellator tournament provides an amazing opportunity for me to accomplish that.
The Nova União representative is dangerous anywhere the fight goes, but look for West to keep the Brazilian at bay with his wrestling and grind out a decision.
When that cage door shuts, I'm getting ready to fight. I think, you ass, you made me cut all this weight and not eat my food and not bang my chick. I'm gonna make you pay for it. I'll beat this dude anywhere, and you guys are gonna see some action. I will kick him in the head.
Also on the card, Bellator light heavyweight champion Christian Mpumbu makes his return to the cage since winning the inaugural 205-pound Grand Prix when he goes to war with 80-fight veteran Travis View in a non-title affair. While the elite performance product will have experience on his side, Mpumbu is the faster and more explosive fighter. Expect the Frenchman to keep this fight on the feet and go for the knockout. All the action gets underway this Saturday night at the Cocopah Resort and Casino in Yuma, Arizona.
On the Canadian side, Ringside MMA will hold their 12th installment this weekend, which features a super fight and 3 championship bouts, and will showcase some of the best fighters from Quebec. John Ramdeen is breaking down the card for us.
On Friday, October 21st, Ringside MMA presents an explosive fight card at the famed Bell Center in Montreal. The main event pits 2 veterans against one another when dynamic striker Paul Daly tangles with experienced MMA competitor Luigi Fioravante. The 28-year-old Brit packs a major punch, and his ATT counterpart might look for an early takedown to avoid Daly's awesome power. Over the course of 40-plus pro fights, Daly has stopped 20 of his opponents by knockout. In September of this year, after missing weight, the Thai boxer lit up UFC veteran Jordan Radoff and put forth a sensational effort to garner his 23rd mixed martial arts victory. However, if Daly takes his seasoned opponent lightly, he could find himself struggling to establish his place in the sport. In the co-feature, the ringside 155-pound title will be up for grabs when Sahabi MMA standout Mike Ricci battles 8-2 American Darren Cruikshank. After going 5 straight, Ricci would suffer his first professional loss, but the setback has only helped motivate and ground the highly touted youngster.
Things have been great since I came back. I mean, it was a rough year. That year I took off. The loss, of course, contributed to that, but it wasn't just the loss. There was a lot of stuff in my personal life. This is where I need to be right now. This is the fight for me, and everything is falling in place.
After rebounding from his loss, the massive lightweight is ready to perform to the best of his abilities and is not taking the heavy-hitting Cruikshank lightly. The Dominican Nightmare Alex Garcia is scheduled to step into the cage to meet rugged East Coaster Matt McGrath in a welterweight pairing. The student of Firas Zahabi exploded onto the Canadian mixed martial arts scene and quickly made waves by dispatching his first 6 opponents, all by stoppage. But his momentum was stifled when he encountered the more experienced UFC veteran, Seth Baczynski. Unfortunately for Garcia, it would not be his night. More than 6 months after his first pro loss, Garcia is now ready to move ahead with his mixed martial arts career.
I've been working a lot on my cardio and my condition. Right now, what I feel I've improved more my striking. I want this fight, I want to keep presenting my feet and try to knock him out.
In his way of another victory is the skilled McGrath, a fighter nearly impossible to break with an intelligent mind and who will be more than willing to slow down the battle and wear out the powerful Montreal-based fighter. Former featherweight champion Mitch Gagnon looks for his 6th straight stoppage win when he meets 6-2 American Bo Harris. Gagnon was originally set to face current 135-pound kingpin Stefan Pelche, but due to injury, the champion was forced to withdraw. Gagnon is one of the country's top prospects, and if he can manage another impressive showing, many doors could open for the explosive Team Shredder representative.
Next up, John Pollock sits down with MFC president and owner Mark Pavelich, who tells him why he doesn't like other promoters and why the fighters in the MFC are not friends and why he knows more about MMA than almost everyone.
The Maximum Fighting Championship just wrapped up another show, but MFC president Mark Pavelich is never one to rest, always dissecting his last show to improve upon.
We have the ability to be the #2 brand on the planet, and the more people that see that and know that, that'll eventually happen. And just like before, I used to tell people I'm going to be the only show on live TV, and people are like, oh, he's talking. And then I'm the only show on live TV, and now they're mad because I went and did it. It's going to consistently run like that. Our businesses run like that, But it's no surprise, right? We work 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day, and then people get mad because we do these things.
Pavelich has gained a reputation for being an outspoken promoter and has a different vision of the sport when it comes to his product.
I don't want guys singing Kumbaya together and being buddies. I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. It's such a myth in MMA. We're all sitting around going, we all like each other. How can we possibly like each other? We're making money. We're going to punch each other in the face, and you're going to do that in front of all my friends and family. It's like, that's why I don't like any other people that are in my business that are promoters, right? You're trying to steal my marketplace. You're trying to take my money. I don't like you, right? It's a myth, It's like, it's funny when you see these guys standing around taking pictures together. That does not happen in the MFC.
Back in September, Pavelich went to a WWE Raw taping in Edmonton and took away numerous notes that can be applied to the MFC presentation.
It's far superior to MMA by miles, by miles. And, if we think any differently, we're fooling ourselves. Production-wise, clarity of a live event, and when I say clarity, I mean like everything was lit up properly, like they weren't missing a beat, video-wise, things like that. It was just a level that I've never seen before in MMA.
And what does Mark Pavelich feel will be the changes seen in the UFC's presentation when they move to Fox?
I don't watch their brand. I can't comment. I don't ever watch it.
You don't watch any UFC?
No, I don't watch it. I don't care about it. I really don't care. I don't, if you said, oh, Nick Diaz was going to fight GSP, I'm going to watch because I like watching great fights, so I'm going to watch Nick Diaz fight, right? But you say that he's going to fight Carlos Condit, I'm going to watch that fight? Are you kidding? Why would I watch it? Wait, I know what's going to happen in the fight. Watch. You ready? 5-round fight. He's going to take him to the ground. He's going to hold him there for 5 fights. Go buy your tickets. Watch the fight. I know more about MMA than 99.9% anybody on this planet, and that's what's going to happen. So why am I going to watch it?
Stay with us after the break for an exclusive interview with the UFC's big boss, Dana White.
No doubt about it. Oh, there's no doubt about it.
This segment on the Fight Network is brought to you by The Ballroom, downtown Toronto's newest interactive entertainment center.
One of the most famous businessmen in MMA, the charismatic Dana White, who always says it like it is, recently talked to John Pollock about UFC 140 Jones versus Machida. Listen to what he has to say about the next UFC event in Canada.
All right, we're joined here by UFC president / the most popular man in Toronto today, Dana White. And Dana, great turnout today for getting set for UFC 140 that's coming up December the 10th. It was just announced just recently the title fight would be added to this show. Do you feel that this card actually needed it? Because I think this show sells out even without that title fight.
Well, I always like to deliver. Canada wanted another main event, so we made sure that we delivered. This place, I say it all the time, Toronto is, you know, what Vegas is to the world. That's what this place is for the UFC. So, you know, I wanted to deliver big here, and we did.
Have you, after the success you've had this year and going down to Brazil and getting out to all these different markets, I mean, what is your thought process now when it comes to running a stadium show? Because it seems that you've always been kind of hesitant to go to the big stadiums, and I think at times you're underestimating just how big this thing is right now.
I definitely underestimated Brazil. We did 14,000 seats and 350,000 people were looking for tickets, but I don't want to do a stadium event every time, you know. Yeah. People got that. First stadium event made sense here in Toronto. We did it. We pulled it off. It was awesome. You know, now we're coming back fairly close to the last time we were here, and I want to make sure that it's done right. I don't want to overestimate, and I'd rather play it safe than go crazy.
And my last question here, UFC 137 coming up, GSP, Carlos Condit. You said earlier GSP is the best pound-for-pound draw in the UFC right now. Is he bigger than Brock Lesnar at this point?
No doubt about it. Oh, there's no doubt about it. The biggest superstar on the planet, as far as mixed martial arts is concerned, is Georges St-Pierre. There's not a bigger superstar, and he's pound for pound, you know, #1 when it comes to pay-per-view. Nobody beats Georges St-Pierre.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Dana. UFC 140 coming up December the 10th right here at the Air Canada Centre.
Thanks to Corey Erdman for breaking down the boxing matches set for this weekend. And on behalf of Fight Network, thank you to the Ballroom for having us in their space. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the fights this weekend.
I don't mind being #2. I'm happy being #2 if that's what people call me. I am here and I'm blessed, and I just have the best people around me, and I'm happy, and that makes me #1 in them.